Once upon a time, there was a king who loved hunting. Sometimes, he would stay in the forest for several days while hunting. Ministers, soldiers, and bodyguards would join him on his hunting trips. One day, the king heard about a golden stag that lived in a forest of his kingdom. People who had seen it said it was very beautiful. Finally, one day the king decided to hunt the stag. He made a plan and moved towards the forest. He wandered for a long time in the forest, but he found no trace of the stag. When he was deep in the jungle, he suddenly saw the golden stag. The king immediately took aim at the stag and shot an arrow. The stag had a narrow escape. The stag fled and the king started chasing him. The king shot a few more arrows but in vain. The king thought that the stag runs very fast. Now he aimed at the horns of the stag. Even this time the stag evaded the arrow. The king was soon reached in the middle of the forest, and was now left all alone. All his men were left behind. The stag had got exhausted by now. He took shelter of a bush to take some rest. Just then he saw the king standing near the bush. The stag immediately thought of an idea. He lay down on the ground pretending to be dead. As soon as the king touched him, the stag got up and again started running. The king also resumed his chase. After running a short distance, the stag heard a thud. He understood that the king had fallen from his horse. He turned back, but couldn't see the king coming after him. Hence, he returned to see what had happened to the king. He saw that the king had fallen into a ditch, and there was no one to help him. Seeing the stag, the king shouted,
"Oh, golden stag, please help me! Now my life is in your hands!"
The stag began to think.
A little while before the king was chasing to kill me. Now he's seeking my help. How strange human nature is.
Then he said to the king,
"O king, you need not worry. I will surely help you get out of this ditch. I will lower my head, and you catch hold of my horns and come out."
The king did as he was told by the golden stag. After escaping the ditch with the help of the deer, the king felt weak and hungry. His clothes were torn, and he had a painful injury on his leg. Seeing the king's state, the deer kindly said,
"You look hungry, my king. Let me find some food for you."
The deer walked a little way and found a tall coconut tree. It jumped up picked a ripe coconut and brought it back to the king. The king smiled and thanked the deer. He picked up a large stone and cracked the coconut open. Cool, sweet water spilled out from it, and he drank it eagerly. After quenching his thirst, he scooped out the soft white flesh and ate it. Gradually, he began to feel his strength return. He thanked the stag for his help and said,
"You have saved my life, for which I shall be indebted to you. Would you like to be my royal guest?"
The stag politely refused the king's offer and said,
You have come a long way deep into the forest, and also have been separated from the people who were assisting you in the hunting. Come, I will show you the way out of the forest. At the same time, we shall try to find out your companions. They must be worried about you.
The stag led the king out of the forest. The king's assistants were waiting eagerly for him. The king thanked the stag and requested him to be his royal guest once again. The stag said,
O king, I love being free and roaming the wild. A luxurious life means nothing to me, and your palace would feel like a prison. I'm happy here, but I ask you to promise that you will never hunt innocent and harmless animals again, and that you will tell your people to do the same.
The king promised the stag that he would abide by what he had asked him to do. Reaching the palace, the king declared,
The hunting of animals is banned across the entire kingdom.
Moral: treat all creatures with kindness and respect, as you never know when you might need their help.